Welcome to Idaho Media Showcase. At Idaho Media Showcase, we explore all facets of media production throughout our beautiful state of Idaho.
Hello and welcome to Idaho Media Showcase. I'm Lance Thompson, I'm your host, and we have a really great show lined up for you. First, a little programming note. I'd like to do a kind of a mind reading thing. If you're watching this at home and it's a Friday night, if you look at the clock, I'll bet it says 7 p.m. If you're watching this on a Monday morning, I'll bet your clock says 9 a.m. because we broadcast Fridays at 7 p.m., Mondays at 9 a.m. So if you miss the Friday show, you can see us on Monday. Our guest tonight is Sherry Cann. She's a writer, a screenwriter, a filmmaker, a photographer, and she is an exceptional person in the media business here in Boise because she's always encouraging others, especially people first starting out in their careers. And she's a wonderful person to have in media, and we're glad to have her here tonight. So, Sherry Cann, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Enjoyed being here.
Well, you have such a wide variety of your resume is voluminous. So. One of the things you are is you're an award-winning filmmaker, and that is one of the show that your film that won I-48, was it 2 years ago?
Yes.
2 years ago was called My Face.
My Face, yep. And I was one of the writers on it.
One of the writers and actor. You were an actor in it.
I was in it.
And now, tell us about what is I-48 for people who don't know. That's kind of an interesting program here.
Idaho 48-Hour Film Festival. It happens every spring. It's patterned after one that started in Washington. You get a packet on Friday night at 6 p.m. It tells you what genre to write, a character, a prop, and a line of dialogue, and you have 48 hours to go back to your team, write the screenplay, shoot it, edit it, put it on DVD, and turn it back in 6 o'clock Sunday night. So it's an adventure.
And how many people participate in that? Is it?
They have about 50 teams each year.
So everybody's working
yes.
on that weekend.
Yes.
And you've been involved. How long have you been doing that?
6 years now.
6 years. So you've been on pretty much in all of them, right?
Yeah.
And this year, when's the I-48 for this year, for 2012?
It's in June, I think, the 1st of June.
1st of June. Okay. So get ready. But you can't. Can you prepare for that? How do you prepare for something that has to be done?
Not really. The best thing you can do is have people standing by to act if you need them, but you're not going to know until the last minute if you need them.
Right.
So you kind of have some things in your mind, but you can't actually write a script until you draw you don't know what you're going to draw.
So when the one that won the award, My Face, how many writers were on that?
There were 2 of us that wrote, Jody and me.
Okay, so that wasn't like 12 people in a room trying to work it out because you don't have much time.
No, you don't. You don't have time to squabble.
What do you think? What does that teach filmmakers if you participate in I-48? What does that help? How does that help them?
I think it helps them be creative. It helps them think on the spot because you don't have time to research. You have to learn how to go and act fast, and it's just a great teamwork. You have to be able to work together with people.
So just a very looming deadline
yes.
and a lot of activity. Well, it sounds like fun. What does it take? Do you have to be a filmmaker to get in, or what are the requirements to?
No, you don't. It's a $50 entry fee, and you've got to have a team. I think at least 2 people with you. And that's it.
And then you're on your own.
You're on your own.
And then what happens to those films? Can you see them, or they go on?
They're shown at the Egyptian, and then they're shown at the Flicks. So, and then people have them, you know, it's their property, so they can show them. We've shown my face at film festivals. It's been entered into several different film festivals.
Very good. Well, congratulations. Good to have that recognition. Now, another thing that you have been very involved in since the start was Idaho Media Professionals. And you've served on the board, you've served as an officer in several different roles, you've been very active. What is that about?
Idaho Media Professionals was organized through the Film Task Force and the Film Office in Idaho and the Department of Commerce to help bring incentives to the state of Idaho so that movie producers, when they're looking at a state to produce a film, to shoot a film, the first thing they ask that state is, what are your incentives? That's where they're going to go, is where they're going to get more incentives. And so that's what IMP was designed for, was to help make Idaho a better state, more lucrative, more appealing to filmmakers to come here.
Do we have those incentives now?
Not yet.
So it didn't work?
No.
Okay.
We're still trying.
So is that the main focus of IMP is incentives or political things, or?
Well, that's where it began, and then it has grown into workforce projects, teaching people in the community how to be filmmakers or work in media, and also getting jobs for people in the area. That a lot of our people have great talents and are licensed with the different film areas, but they have to go out of state to get jobs. So we would like to see them get jobs here.
Is that are there, from between now and the time that started, are there more media jobs? Is there more filmmaking and media production here, or less?
I don't have statistics, but I think there are. I think it is growing some. So
well, that's good.
I think we've definitely made our mark, and people know we're here now.
How do you join? If you want to join IMP, do you
go to idahomediapro.org and come to one of the meetings. They have meetings once a month, and then they have mixers once a month also. So you'll get all the information on the website.
Okay. So would you recommend that for someone who wants to?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, so another thing that's sort of recent for you that you've started is photography. How long have you been doing that, and how did that?
Well, I got my degree, I got a college degree in photography. I graduated in 1982 when everything was still done in the darkroom with film.
I remember those days.
And I don't get to use much of that knowledge today. Everything is now digital and on the computer, but you still have that ability to learn what's going to take a good picture, you know. So I use that. But yeah, it's been quite a transition over the years in my photography.
So what is your specialty now? Do you have a special niche that you do, or do you?
I do a lot of portraits and some weddings, senior pictures, but my joy mostly is doing the art pictures, like taking pictures of buildings and scenery and old structures, you know, and selling the prints. Those are a lot of fun.
That sounds good. So where would we find those?
I have a blog site, and it is sherryannelizabeth.wordpress.com. And
Sherry Ann Elizabeth.
Yes.
WordPress.com.
Yes.
Okay, and then you can just order off of that, or you see your catalog,
yeah,
or your
contact me, and I have a lot of my pictures there, but I have a lot more also. So people just contact me and let me know what they want.
And then for the portraits and the weddings, how is that? That's quite a bit different than art stuff, because that's all public relations, right? How does?
It's a lot of fun too, though, because when I do a wedding, I have a lot of fun of taking the traditional ones that they want, the family and everything, but I also have a lot of fun of getting the more artsy shots as well. So it's a good balance, and they really like that. I've had a lot of good success with that.
Do you have a lot of consultation with the couple beforehand? You kind of figure out where.
I do.
Because you only get one chance, right?
Yeah.
And you can't say try that I do thing over again.
Yeah. We usually sit down about a month before and start going over everything they want. Like this last one that I did, the gal's mother was deceased, so we put together a chair for her and things that were her mother's in the chair with her mother's flowers, and so we took pictures of that. So I wanted to make sure that she had something of her mother's there. So we just I kind of look at their lifestyles and make sure that we have things that are important to them in the pictures.
Very good. And the same with portraits, I guess, but you don't have as much lead time, obviously.
Right.
Do people do you have a studio, or do you do an outdoor location?
I do both. I have a studio at home, and then it's just a solid black backdrop. And then I do a lot of outdoor photography too. The green belt and the train depot. I mean, there's just, Boise has some fabulous, fabulous scenery to shoot around.
That's for sure. And you have a show coming up for the photography, isn't that right? Is that?
Well, I have a booth in a fair coming up.
Okay, and that's the Holistic Metaphysical Fair. So that sounds kind of ethereal. Is it in an actual place and time, or is it just kind of float? Or
Kind of floating.
Okay.
No. It's April 14th and 15th over on Fort Street.
Okay.
And so I'll have a booth in there with some samples of my work, some prints that they can buy, and they can come by and talk to me.
Okay. So at a metaphysical fair, what else would people find there? Is it like
I think
mind
they're
readers
gonna
and stuff?
I think they are going to have some readers. I think they're going to have massage people, healers, sales of jewelry and crystals and stuff like that.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Oh, organic food, they say, raffles. Okay. So you've really, I mean, there's all these different things that you're doing. Were you involved in the Idaho Media Day?
Yes, I was. I was involved in the first one they had.
Now, how did that? What's the purpose of that? How?
That was set up in the rotunda at the Capitol during the legislature, so that when the legislators came out of their sessions, Idaho Media Day would be there, set up with booths all around, and could show them what we do and educate them a little bit on film in Idaho. Did you find, or do you find, that the legislature understands media or knows much about it, or what's the level of? It depends on who you talk to. Some of them don't want to have anything to do with it, and a lot of them were very receptive. So it was a nice mix. It'd be nice to have more of them very receptive.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's an industry,
Yes.
It's part of the economy here. Okay, now, and I knew you looked familiar. You've been on the post-Oscar show at KIVI the last 2 years.
Yes, I have.
How did that come about, and what do you think of that gig?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful crew. The production director there at Channel 6 is one of the members of my screenwriters group. And so 2 years ago, they were trying to think of something extra special that they could do with the Oscars, since they have the Oscars on their channel. And so he created the Oscar panel to bring in some Oscar experts, as you know. And so after the Oscars were over, we got to sit down with Don Nelson and Michelle Edmonds and discuss what we thought about the picks. Did we agree with who got what? And
do you usually agree, or do they get things wrong?
There's always something I disagree with.
What was it this year? Do you remember?
Well, this year was pretty good, actually. I think we were pretty spot on. There was a few things that I liked. The extremely loud and incredibly close didn't get anything, and I really wanted to see that movie get something because it was so well done.
Well, but it's your chance to draw people's attention to those ones that
Yes.
they may have missed, right?
Yes.
That's the good part.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and then another one of your talents is, you mentioned screenwriting, but also you're writing a novel, or have you finished a novel yet?
I finished a novel.
Okay.
I'm starting a second one.
Okay, so the one that's done, what is that?
That's called The Death of Innocence, and
Okay.
it's a thriller, a supernatural thriller. That's mostly what I write. That's my genre. The new one that I'm writing is actually the first of a series, which, if I had to describe it, would be Murder, She Wrote meets The X-Files.
Oh, that sounds like a good genre right there.
Yes.
So now, is that the first Death of Innocence? Was that your first novel?
Yes, that was my first novel.
So what is that like? I mean, people think about writing the great American novel all the time, and what is that like, actually jumping in there and doing it?
I worked on that thing for years.
Oh, so it was a long time.
Years, yes.
Okay.
Constantly rewriting and rewriting. Yeah.
So how did you, what was the biggest, the thing that was holding you back all that? What was the biggest obstacle those years? What you were just constantly fiddling with it, or?
Well, yes, and when I first started writing, I wasn't a very good writer. So it was a matter of honing my skills, becoming a better writer, and the better I would get at writing, then I would go back and add what I learned before, and being a screenwriter actually taught me to be a better novelist. So
How's that?
in the years of my screenwriting, I think because in screenwriting you learn to be very concise. You have to have the characters developed well. Your dialogue has to be right on. You have so many things because a screenplay is so short that you have to do everything in a short amount of time, and it has to be important, and everything that you do and say has to mean something. It has to develop character. It has to move the story forward. And so you learn how to do that. And in learning that, it taught me to be a better writer.
Just in general.
Yeah.
So do you think it's easier for a screenwriter to write a novel or for a novelist to write a screenplay? Which is
I think it's much easier for a screenwriter to write a novel.
Really?
Yes.
So that's exciting for screenwriters, because
I think
now they
so.
can sit down and write 500 pages instead of.
Well, you know, when I was down in LA at the Screenwriting Expo one year, and I noticed an agent who was talking on one panel, and he said that whenever he gets a good client, they've written a great screenplay that he's very excited about, the first thing he does is have them write the novel.
Wow. Why is that?
Because he can generate a market, a following with that better with the novel, and then once the novel has that following, he can take it to the studio and say, okay, we've got all these people interested in this story, now it's time to make the movie. But if you do it the other way around, a movie costs millions of dollars and a novel only costs a few thousand.
So you have more immediate access to the marketplace.
Yes.
As a novelist.
And with a lower expense, less risk.
But lots more words.
Lots more words.
So do you have the problem of, since you're in that screenwriting, mode of thought, do you have a problem fleshing things out like that? Is that a...
You really have to change gears. And it did take me a while to get used to that idea. Okay, it's not a screenplay. I can elaborate more. In a screenplay, you don't describe every little detail because you leave that up to the director. So in a book, you have to describe every little detail because you're telling the reader. Yeah. You don't want them creating it themselves.
Although they will anyway, oftentimes.
Yeah, well,
they'll have
to some degree.
Okay, so well, tell me, what kind of screenplays do you write? Is that also, are also a genre writer in that?
Mostly thrillers.
Mostly thrillers.
Yeah, I have written a couple of other, a family, but mostly thrillers.
And then what happens to short, feature, I-48?
All of it. I've written probably a dozen feature films and at least that many short screenplays, and several of my short screenplays have been produced and won awards. Do you have a favorite of your screenplays? You know, produced My Face was good, although I really liked Ticket Home that we did last year. And it was a little film noir. We shot it in black and white, and we shot it on the Thunder Mountain Lines. Oh, this is for I-48 also? The Texan, yes. Yes, okay. Yes, it was I-48 was a little murder mystery. It wasn't a murder mystery, it was a robbery mystery. Yeah. But it had a great atmosphere. That was really... It did, I loved it. And Mark Boylan, who runs the theater company, had the whole wardrobe for us. We were all dressed like in the 40s. Yes. So it was just perfect, and it was so fun. And what about the feature-length screenplays? Do you have a favorite of those that I've written? Yeah, that you'd like to see, like, this is the one I'd really like to see made. There's one that I wrote that is a family children's movie, and it's called The Grand Artist, and I would love to. Ben Shedd was actually looking at that one time, and he really liked it. Put in a lot of work in getting it ready, but we're just running into financing, which is always the key. Yeah, always a problem with the features. Now you also teach screenwriting and teach writing as well. Right? I mean, you do a lot of. I have, yeah. And you have a newsletter. What? The Muse-letter. The Muse-letter. And that is that all about writing, or what is? It's about writing and life. So it has a little bit of everything. I'll have photographs in it. I'll ask people to write stuff. I'll give them prompts, and my readers will come back with short stories or little essays that they've written, and we'll post them on the website and in the next newsletter. And
so it's also a forum for other artists and writers.
yes.
And, okay, very good. And now you talked about how did you started Idaho Screenwriters, or was that?
I did.
Okay, now why are there that many screenwriters here? It doesn't seem like it would be a
There
place.
are. I started the Idaho Screenwriters Association in 1999, and it has just grown leaps and bounds. I'll bet on our emailing list now, and the only way you can get on our email list is to attend a meeting.
Oh, okay.
You have to attend
so
at
you
least
actually
one
you have to be
meeting,
present to win.
and that's how you get on the list.
Okay.
We've probably got 75 to 80 people on that list now.
Wow. And do you have to be a published or a produced
No.
screenwriter to get it? So
No.
just if you like screenwriting.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people that have come to learn. They have a book, maybe they've written, or a book they've found that they think would be a great movie. And I've had people contact me and say they want me to look at a book to see if I could adapt it. And I did that a few times, and I did write a couple of adaptations for people. But then I just ran out of time, and so I started telling people, come to the meetings, learn how to screenwrite, and write your own adaptation.
Yeah, what adaptations are you take some other material and you turn it into a screenplay? Is that seems like that would be an easy way to come up with a story, that you have this, it's already there, you just change it to a screenplay. Was that your experience, or?
Well, the story's already there, but a lot of times, a lot of books don't translate that well into film, and so you may have to change quite a bit. And it's that knowing of what to change and how to change it. Plus, in a screenplay, you don't have as much to work with as you do in a novel, so you're going to have to cut out a lot, and you need to know what you can cut and what you can still keep to keep the story.
Okay. And so people can learn some of this stuff if they come to the screenwriters meetings. Are those still top secret, or can we reveal the location of the screenwriters meeting?
The screenwriters meet the third Tuesday of every month, and I have a blog site for them too, and I think they're going to show that. And it's at the Idaho Pizza on Fairview.
Idaho Pizza on Fairview, third Tuesday at what time?
6:30.
6:30 p.m. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, of all the different media you work in, what do you think is your favorite, or do you have one? Do you just?
I do enjoy it all, but writing is probably what I'm more passionate about.
Why do you think that is?
Because when I sit down to write a book or a screenplay, whatever, I'm writing that story, I don't a lot of times know I might have an outline done, but everything that fills in, I don't know until I'm writing it. It's like I'm reading it as I'm typing it.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, I'll start laughing and saying, wow, this is great.
So you're discovering it as you go.
Absolutely, and it is so amazing.
So do you think it's the same, is that the same experience that a reader goes through almost? As you're discovering these things, do you put yourself in the place of the reader, thinking,
think so, yeah.
Am I anticipating this?
Yeah.
No, very good. So you get like looking through bifocals there. You're looking for as the writer and the reader at the same time.
Yeah.
That's neat. Okay, well, what you said you've got your novel, your writing series, the Murder, She Wrote and the X-Files. That's going to be a trilogy or just a series? A series. So it could go on forever. It could be.
We're hoping.
They're showing me something, and I can't.
Oh, the Idaho.
Oh, yes, that's your big project. Thank you for your reminder. You're also involved in the Idaho Writers Guild.
Yes.
And what are they doing? And they've got a big event coming up.
Yes, I'm on the governing board of the Idaho Writers Guild, which was started by Doug Copsey through the Literary Cabin. And we have our first big conference. We did kind of a small one-day thing last year, and it went over really well. So this year we have a 3-day conference, May 3rd through 5th, and it's going to be at the Boise Center on the Grove, but it's Boise Center.
Wow, yeah.
And we have agents and editors and authors coming in from New York, Seattle, LA, all over, publishers, just a lot of great stuff, workshops that people can attend and learn stuff. They can sit down and meet the people and talk to them. So the Idaho Writers Rendezvous is going to be awesome.
So who would benefit from from attending that? What kind of people should?
Anybody that wants to write, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, poetry, it doesn't matter. We're going to have open mic night on Friday and Saturday night.
So funny writers, or
they can get up and do, funny essays, stories, whatever they want to.
oh, they're reading some of their. Okay, that makes sense.
They're going to do their own stuff.
And you're part of the Writers Guild board, or how?
Yes, I'm on the governing board.
There's are you from Idaho? Are you from this area?
No, I grew up right here.
Why are there so many writers here, or so many creative people? It seems like for our per capita, we have a huge creative, community.
I don't have the answer for that, but I'm glad they do.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for you. You are known for encouraging new writers and helping people and teaching. You've got online courses and things like that. What motivates you to do that? To help others and encourage
I love helping people. I mean, when I have a degree in adult education, and the first time I went into a classroom at College of Southern Idaho, I was so nervous. And then when I got into the classroom and in front of the class, all of a sudden it was just a perfect calm. And I just felt so, it was like, this is home, this is where I'm meant to be, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
You belong there.
Yeah.
What do you think? A lot of people would like to, I think, I'd like to write a novel, or I'd like to, paint, or I'd like to do anything. What holds them back? What do you think is what do they have to overcome to do that?
I think insecurities. People don't think they're good enough. I want to write, but I'm not really good enough. Or I want to photograph, but I'm not good enough. And you just need to do it. Practice and practice. Learn from people. Get around other people that do it. Writing groups are very important, I think.
So you've actually established a lot of opportunity for people to get around other people who do that with the Writers Guild, the Screenwriters, the IMP, the Rendezvous. Oh, when is the Rendezvous? Tell us.
May 3rd through 5th.
May 3rd through 5th. So that's coming up pretty quick.
Yes.
So how do you get tickets or reservations?
Go to the IdahoWritersRendezvous.com.
IdahoWritersRendezvous.com. And what are you expecting? 22,000? How many?
I would guess there'll probably be about 150 to 200 people there.
So still not hugely packed. I mean, you'll have time to meet a lot of different people.
You'll have time to meet, a lot of great people.
Well, we're glad you had time to stop by TVC TV today.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it was our pleasure. And watch out for those websites for the Idaho Writers Rendezvous and the Idaho Screenwriters and the Idaho Media Professionals. Sherry's on every website, evidently. And how do you get the newsletter?
They can email me or go through one of my blog pages and let me know if they want to get it.
Make sure you do that. And thank you for stopping by here at Idaho Media Showcase. We'll see you all next Friday at 7 or next Monday at 9. And thanks for stopping by.